Let me ask you a question that might make you uncomfortable. Who owns you? You wake up early, you put on your boots, you drive to the job site or the warehouse, you work hard, you pay your taxes, you try to do the right thing, you think you're a free man in a free country. But pull out your phone. Open up that banking app, look at that three-digit number staring back at you. Maybe it's a 620, maybe it's a 750, maybe you're struggling and it's a 550. They call it a credit score. They tell you it's a report card for grown-ups. They tell you it measures your financial responsibility. They tell you that if you have a high number, you are a good citizen, and if you have a low number, you are a risk. They are lying to you. That number does not measure how good you are with money. It doesn't measure how much wealth you have. It doesn't measure how hard you work. That number measures how profitable you are to the banks. It measures how good of a servant you are to the master. If you have a perfect credit score, all it means is that you are really, really good at paying interest to a bank. It means you are a cash cow. It means they have their hooks in you, and you aren't wiggling too much. Welcome to the credit score scam. It is the most brilliant con game in American history. It is a system designed to convince working-class men to voluntarily put chains around their own necks, and then brag about how shiny the chains are. Today, we are going to peel back the layers of this onion. We are going to look at where this system came from, how the math is rigged to punish you for being successful, and how it has infected every single part of your life, from your car insurance to your ability to get a job. First, we need a history lesson. And don't worry, this isn't the history they taught you in school. Most guys think the credit score is like the Constitution. They think it's been around forever. They think it's just part of nature, like gravity. It's not. The FICO score, the standard score used by 90% of lenders, was introduced in 1989. Think about that for a second. 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. In 1989, Nintendo Game Boy came out in 1989. This system is younger than a lot of the guys listening to this right now. Before 1989, banking was local. It was human. If you wanted to buy a house or get a loan for a truck, you went to the local bank. You sat across the desk from a loan officer. He knew your dad. He knew where you worked. He looked at your pay stub. He looked you in the eye. If you were a man of your word and you had a steady job, you got the loan. It was a character-based system. But then the big banks got greedy. They got too big to know your name. They wanted to issue millions of credit cards and millions of mortgages without ever looking a man in the eye. They wanted to automate the process. They wanted to turn you into a statistic. So, the Fair Isaac Corporation created the algorithm. They took the human element out of the equation. They stopped caring about your character. They stopped caring about your potential. They only cared about one thing: data. And this is where the trap was set. Because the moment they switched to an algorithm, they changed the rules of the game. The goal was no longer help this man build a life. The goal became predict how much money we can squeeze out of this man before he breaks. They sold us on convenience. They said it would make getting a loan faster, and it did. But the price we paid was our privacy and our freedom. Now, three massive corporations, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, know more about your life than your own wife does, and they sell that information to anyone who will pay for it. Now let's get into the mechanics. Let's look under the hood of how this scam actually works. If the credit score was really about financial health, then the richest man in the world would have the highest score. Right. Wrong. How is that possible? You did the responsible thing. You paid your debts. The algorithm punishes you because you closed an account. You reduced the average age of your credit history. You stopped being a source of active profit. Think about how twisted that is. A system that claims to measure responsibility literally punishes you for eliminating debt. That is all the proof you need that this system is not designed for your benefit. If this was just about getting a credit card, I wouldn't be so angry. I'd say fine, pay cash, opt out. But you can't opt out anymore. This cancer has spread. It has moved from the banks into the rest of your life. They have weaponized this number to create a modern-day caste system. Let's look at your car insurance. You're a good driver. You haven't had a ticket in 10 years. You've never been in an accident. you drive a safe truck. But if your credit score drops, maybe because you got laid off, or you had a medical emergency and missed a payment, your car insurance rates go up. In some states, a driver with poor credit pays double what a driver with good credit pays. For the exact same coverage, what does your credit card bill have to do with your driving ability? Absolutely nothing. A guy with bad credit isn't going to crash his car more often. So why do they do it? Because they know that people with low credit scores are usually poor or struggling, and people who are struggling don't have the time or the money to fight back. They just pay the higher rate because they have no choice. It is a tax on poverty. But it gets darker. Let's talk about jobs. You apply for a job, maybe it's a management position, maybe it's a job handling inventory, maybe it's government work. They run a background check, and part of that check is your credit report. Employers are now using your credit history to decide if you are trustworthy. The logic is that if you have a lot of debt or a low score, you might be a thief, you might be a security risk, you might be unorganized. So let's trace the cycle of destruction here. You lose your job because you have no income. You miss a few payments. Because you miss payments, your credit score tanks. Now you try to get a new job to fix your situation, but the new employer sees your tanked credit score and refuses to hire you. It is a death spiral. It locks good men out of the economy. It keeps you down. It ensures that once you slip, you can get back up. And don't even get me started on renting a home. Try finding a landlord who will rent to you with a 500 score. You can walk in with a bag full of cash, first month, last month's security deposit, and they will still say no. Computer says no. The machine has replaced common sense, and the machine has no mercy. Why do we accept this? Why aren't we marching in the streets about this? Because they made it a game. They hired psychologists. They hired experts in human behavior. They know that men are competitive. We like to win. We like to see numbers go up. So they gave us apps, Credit Karma, Experian banking app. They send you a notification. Congratulations, your score went up 4 points. And you get a little hit of dopamine. You feel good. You feel like you're winning. Oh, look at me, I'm an 800 now. We walk around bragging about our scores like it's a measure of our masculinity. I got approved for the platinum card. I got the lowest rate. We are rats in a maze, chasing a piece of cheese, not realizing that the maze is a trap. By focusing on the score, you stop focusing on the real game. The real game is assets. The real game is ownership. While you are worrying about keeping your utilization at 30%, the rich are buying land. They are buying gold. They are buying businesses. They are buying tools. The rich use debt as a weapon to make money. The poor use debt to survive. And the middle class? The middle class uses debt to look rich. And the credit score is the scoreboard for how well they are. Faking it. This system trains you to be a consumer. It trains you to be a borrower. It trains you to ask for permission. Please, Mr. Banker, may I have a house? Please, Mr. Banker, may I have a car? And as long as you keep your score high, they pat you on the head and say, good boy. So, what is the verdict? I am not telling you to go out today and default on your loans. I'm not telling you to live in a tent in the woods. We live in the real world. You have a family to feed. You need a roof over your head, but you need to change your mindset. You need to wake up. Step 1. Stop attaching your self-worth to that number. You are not a 600. You are not an 800. You are a man. Your worth is determined by your character, your work ethic, and how you treat your family. Do not let a bank algorithm tell you who you are. Step 2. Understand the game, but don't fall in love with it. If you need a mortgage, play the game for 6 months. Polish the score, get the loan, get the house. But once you have the keys, stop obsessing. Don't live your life for the score. Live your life to pay off the debt. Step 3. The ultimate goal is 0. The ultimate goal is to not need them. Imagine a life where you don't care what the interest rates are because you aren't borrowing money. Imagine a life where you don't care what the bank thinks of you because you are your own bank. Build an emergency fund, pay off the truck, pay off the credit cards and cut them up. The only way to win a rigged game is to stop playing. They built a system to keep you poor. They built a system to keep you anxious. They built a system to harvest your hard-earned money in interest and fees. Don't give it to them. Starve the beast. Reclaim your freedom, because at the end of the day, A high credit score is just a certificate that says you are a good slave. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather be a free man with a lower score than a slave with an 850. Think about it.